Dr. King, it is a pleasure to meet you. Can you tell me about the vision of the beloved community and why it's important with Operation Hope?
Yeah, so it's a buzzword now, but it's a it's a vision of an inclusive human community that is grounded in love, but that love is focused on manifesting justice and equality and freedom and peace. Is a recognition that number one, we're all created in the image and after the likeness of God. There's a sacredness to the human personality. So what drives it is this understanding that at the core of the beloved community is a person, is a human that we have to respect, that we have to value, that we have to think about how do we create a community where all of us can prosper and do well, and fight off those things that try to diminish and come against that, such as injustices and inequities. And so, with the work of Operation Hope in the space of financial, I'll call it financial intelligence,
Yeah.
it's very key because obviously, we live in these economies, but these economies don't work well if we don't understand our human connectedness, which the beloved community helps us with. We don't understand that who I am is directly tied to who you are. There are no self-sustained people, contrary to the belief that I did this on my own.
Right, right.
We all are building upon previous generations. So we and my father called it eternally in the red,
Wow.
because there's nothing that we do that is in a silo. It is connected to so many other pieces and parts. We depend on, if you're a business person, you depend on consumers, you depend on employees, excuse me. You depend on banks. So we're all kind of connected in this thing. So we must create the kind of economy and world where we ensure that everybody has an opportunity and is participate and is respected and regarded in their personal.
That's beautiful. And how do we get back to that human connection when we look at the world today with so much division?
Well, I think first of all, this summit here brings people together from so many different diverse backgrounds. I think we have to learn how to amplify the good. We have a tendency to amplify the bad in this country, and all of us are kind of, unfortunately, drawn to that. So the negative, we kind of want to keep hashing, but it's things like this that should create buzzes, that should go viral. We got to stop making viral the negative, you know. Everything that's good, doing well, and is creating opportunity and connectivity for advancement for all people, that's what we have to focus on. That's what we need to be talking about. And so I think that's one of the most fundamental ways. And the word intentionality is important in that. Sometimes we take for granted that certain things will just happen. No, we have to be intentional to make these things happen because there's always these forces of negative, that are trying to destroy good, undermine good, rip things away. But we have to be intentional. No, we're going to keep pace with good and we're going to stay focused on good and we're not going to let this stuff pull us and sideline us. And so that's the way we do it.
That's beautiful. Final question. Your father, Dr. Martin Luther King, was intentional, stood for peace and love. What is something that you remember from your father as a young child that just has stayed with you?
Nothing, because I was only 5. So I don't know anything profound that I remember from him. What I can say is that there's a quote that he has um, that resonates with me only because it's troubling and disturbing. Um, as a man of God who I believe was a prophet, um, and usually a prophet's words are true, um, it's disturbing because it suggests that we could continue to keep repeating darkness and evil and negativity. He said, and I bring this up because for me, I'm on this quest to disprove what he said,
Ah,
which is that the tragedy still, and I mean, you want to think about this, my father's been gone for 56, going on 57 years. And he said this obviously over that many years ago. The tragedy still of humankind is that the children of darkness are often more zealous and determined than the children of light.
Wow. Huh.
So when you think about everything people talk about in terms of the times we're living in,
Mm-hmm.
polarization, and what the state of our world and all of that, something A.R. Bernard on the panel that I was a part of today at the summit said is that history doesn't repeat itself, people repeat. And I thought about it is because the zealousness of those people that are children of light is not at the level, the determination of the children of darkness. So we got to flip that. We
And
got
does
to
that come
turn
from that love and peace to get to that level?
Um, this is my theory, and I'm still working on it
Okay.
because I haven't fully developed this. But my theory and belief is that people of the light assume too much. There's this almost self-righteousness that because we are children of light, we got it right. So we don't have to work as hard,
Wow. Oh.
which is,
Oh.
there's nothing further from the truth. We have
And
to work even harder.
yeah.
Yes.
And if there's, someone out there who wants to make change, what advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, look in the mirror. You know, we do training at the King Center in nonviolence training, my father's training, which people think only applies to the social justice movement. It applies, my father taught it as a way of life. So in your interpersonal relationships, in your home, your work environment, out to society, as you're making decisions, nonviolence guides and rules you. And so when they come to these trainings, the ones that in person that I participate in, I'll remind them, while you may have come here to look at how can I change the world, this is not a window experience where you're looking out, at all the things
Mm-hmm.
that are out there and critiquing them. You're looking at the mirror too,
Mirror.
and realizing that change starts with me.
We are the change.
We are the change. So, you know, nothing novel about that. Gandhi said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." That's real. If you want to see something happen in your community, start with you. What can you do in that particular situation? And as you do that, it's something about the universe. When you have a certain mindset and postures, others begin to gravitate that are like that. So as long as you're focused on this is what I want to see different and don't have the mentality of the savior, because a lot of people have this messiah complex that I have to save the world, instead of saying I have a responsibility and I'm going to do my part and be open to the connectivity to other people who that same way. And when that connectivity comes, that's when you got the Montgomery bus boycott, because all of those people, they wanted change. They wanted to be treated with dignity. They wanted the opportunity at the same rate as other white passengers on the buses.
Wow.
And so over time, because that same mindset resonated in that community, eventually an opportunity came along that they capitalized on. And then they committed to stay connected to each other until a change came.
That's right.
And that's what it takes. That's what it
Well, Dr.
requires.
King, thank you so much for your time. You gave me a lot of time. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you all.